Our November 8th, 2021 meeting is now called to order. We will proceed with invocation by Councilman P.T., Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Harrington. Councilman P.T.
Please stand, bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to gather here on today, God. We thank you for knowledge and wisdom, Lord God, as we look to move our city forward. And Father, we pray, Lord God, that you give us understanding as we make judgments concerning city business. In your Son Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please follow me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Councilman, for that prayer and pledge. We are now up to reading and approval of the minutes of our October 25th, 2021 meeting.
Mayor, make a motion that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of October 25th and that they be adopted, approved.
a second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adopt and approve the minutes from our previous meeting. Comments or questions, council? Any public comments? All right, Ms. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
P.T.
Yes.
All right, that motion passes. We do have next presentation of Miss Merry Christmas and the Christmas Bells. We don't see that they are here at this particular time, so for now, we will skip this presentation, and if they come, we'll fit it in somewhere on the agenda, okay? All right, so we're going to move on to Proclamation. Councilwoman at Large Smith, Proclamation number 92.
Thank you, Mayor. Proclamation number 92 of 2021, declaring November 27th, 2021 as Small Business Saturday in the city of Natchitoches. Whereas the government of Natchez, Louisiana celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community, according to the United States Small Business Administration, there are 31.7 million small businesses in the United States that represent 99.7% of firms with paid employees, and they are responsible for 65.1% of net new jobs created from 2000 to 2019. Whereas small businesses employ 47.1% of the employees in the private sector in the United States, 88% of U.S. consumers feel a personal commitment to support small businesses in the wake of the pandemic, and 92% of small business owners have pivoted the way they do business to stay open during the pandemic. Whereas 56% of shoppers reported they shopped online with a small business on Small Business Saturday in 2020, and more than 50% of consumers who reported shopping small endorsed a local business on social media or shopped at a local business because of a social media recommendation. Whereas Natchez, Louisiana supports our local businesses that create jobs, boosts our local economy, and preserve our communities. And now, therefore, I, Ronnie Williams Jr., Mayor and the City Council of the City of Natchez, do hereby proclaim November 27th, 2021 as Small Business Saturday. And we urge the residents of our community and communities across the country to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the United States. Thank you. So I move for the adoption of Resolution 092.
A second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second here. Grateful for small businesses. Small businesses are the engine of the economy, certainly help our local economy. These are people who take a risk to open a business, to be here. They care about our community. So we're just grateful to not only have this on, but to support small businesses in any way we can, and we want to certainly promote this day as Small Business Saturday here in the city of Natchez. Council, you got any questions or comments about this proclamation? All right. Are there any public comments? Seeing none, Ms. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that proclamation passes. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, we're moving to ordinances that are for introduction, and we have ordinance number 54. That's Councilman PT.
Thank you, Mayor Williams. Ordinance number 54 of 2021, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Natchez to award the bid for caustic soda for the water treatment plant. Whereas resolution number 74 of 2021 was passed by the Natchez City Council on August 23rd of 2021, authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids for caustic soda for the water treatment plant. Whereas this bid was advertised in the Natchez Times on August 26th of 2021, September the 2nd of 2021, and September 9th of 2021 in accordance with the law. Whereas one bid proposal was received, that was with Univar Solutions at 23 cents per pound. Again, this is for introduction only.
Right, any comments, questions, council, at this time? About ordinance number 54? Ed, is there something you would like to say about this?
Yeah, this is the routine bid we do every 6 months, but I don't know how many of you are aware of the actual price increase.
Yeah.
It was a significant price increase. It was 0.102, which is about 10 cents a pound, all the way up to 23 cents a pound. And that's over 500,000 pounds that we're talking about over a 6-month period. So it's a significant price increase, but we're seeing that all across different areas. It's not just this one item. You'll see when the chlorine bid comes up too, it's a pretty big jump as well. But yeah, this is more than 100% price increase.
Echo what Ed said, we're seeing it in many different areas of our economy right now.
So is this going to have an effect on water bills probably?
Well, I don't know. That's going to be, the water bill is set by ordinance by the city council, so we can't go change the rates, but it will impact the amount of the money that the net income to the utility department.
Any other comments or questions? Public comments? All right. Seeing none. We're moving on to the next item on the agenda. That was just for introduction. This is also for introduction, and it is ordinance number 55, Councilwoman Washington Eli.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 055 of 2021. Ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Natchez to award the bid for the liquid chlorine for the water treatment plant. Bid number 0643, whereas the resolution number 073 of 2021 was passed at the city council on August the 23rd of 2021, authorizing the mayor to advertise for the bids for the liquid chlorine for the water treatment plant. Bid number 0643, and whereas the bid was advertised in the Natchez Time on August the 26th, September the 2nd, and September the 9th of 2021, and introduced with the law. And the bid was advertised to DPC Enterprise for $1,376 per ton. And this is just for introduction only.
Okay. Now, Matt, I know this falls under your department. So this is what I remember you saying this is what we have to have to treat the water.
Yeah, this is what we use to sterilize the water.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Speak to that increase, Ed, that we're seeing here with liquid chlorine.
Okay, the expiring amount was 580 a ton. I'm sorry, expiring is 796 per ton. The new amount is 1,376 a ton for a net increase of $580 per ton. and we use about 75 tons per year. I just did the math on it. That's about $43,000 increase just on chlorine this year as well. So something we have to
We have to have it.
you have to have it if we're going to produce water.
43.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, 43,000 total from the last purchase, yeah. But there's a 500 and something dollar difference.
Yeah,
per
580
ton.
ton difference based on 75 tons.
I had is that due to the increase, like price-wise, like chemicals, or?
Yeah, it all ranges from the price of crude oil. And a lot of this is because of, going back to the winter storm, a lot of the refineries were shut down. Most of our chemicals come out of South Louisiana. So when those refineries had to shut down for the winter storm, it put inventories are low, which we know will drive the price up.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Any other public comments? Yeah, Mr. Wayne Hall? Yes, sir, thank you. State your first and last name, please, sir.
I'm Wayne Hall, live at 419 Whitfield Drive. Ed, I know you said that the price of the water was set by the council, and these are some pretty significant increases you're seeing here in costs. Do you foresee that causing you to come back to the council and ask for an increase in the water price? Or if it's not
Well,
you,
I would say it's
somebody?
definitely possible, but we would have to have those discussions. But, you know, the utility department can really, what it's going to really impact is because utility department transfers money to other departments. They help support other departments. And it's going to impact the amount of transfer that they can send to the other various departments. And I would say it's not for me to say on a price increase, but a study would probably need to be looked at some point in time and see if that's something to discuss.
Okay, thank you. I realize that probably wasn't you to answer, but,
No, that's fine.
okay, thank you.
And also, we're hoping some of these price increases are temporary.
That would be wonderful.
It would.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hall. Any other comments or questions about this item? Again, it's just on for introduction. All right, seeing none, let's move on to the next item, which is ordinance number 56 being introduced. That's Councilman Nielsen.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 56 of 2021 is an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Natchez to award the bid for renovation of the Texas and Pacific Railroad Depot. That's bid number 0627. Whereas resolution number 64 of 2021 was passed by the Natchez City Council on August 9, 2021, authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids for renovation of the Texas and Pacific Railroad Depot, bid number 0627. And whereas this bid was advertised in the Natchez Times on August 14, August 19, and August 26, 2021, in accordance with law, and whereas one bid proposal was received and opened as follows: DSW Construction, LLC, Natchez, Louisiana, $868,893. Whereas on November 2nd, 2021, the appointed committee of Jill Raines, Acting Finance Director, Ed Lee, Director of Purchasing, Randy Lacaz, Director of Community Development, and Betty Smith, Councilwoman, reviewed the bid proposals for renovation of the Texas and Pacific Railroad Depot, and whereas the above appointed committee members unanimously recommend the city award the bid to the one bid received to DSW Construction, LLC, in the amount of $868,893. Now, therefore, be it ordained that the Honorable Ronnie Williams, Jr., Mayor, is hereby authorized, empowered, and directed to sign any and all documents necessary for acceptance of this bid. And this is for introduction.
Yeah, Council, we received one bid from this, and you can look at your other paperwork and see it was pretty large bid, and there are those who worked hard, Ed, Randy, and is that Architects as well, to kind of get this price down to where it's a better price for us. So I won't, maybe Randy, you go first, speak to some of the process.
Mayor, let's
with this
let
depot.
Ed comment about the bid process, and I can make some comments on the money end of it associated with the total project for the Park Service.
And I know you'll probably say this when you speak, Randy, before we give it to Ed, is the city has talked about this facility for some time, I think at least 3 decades. So we're finally able to see some movement on it. So Ed, go ahead and share what you're going to share.
Yeah, you're right, Mayor. This has been talked about ever since I've been a city employee, and it's always been a hard time finding a tenant in there that would be suitable for that building and then had the money where available so that the city could actually restore it the way it needs to be restored. So you're going to see a very good total renovation of that building. The bid came in at $1,365,000, like was just read, which was more than anticipated, more than the designer's estimate of about $770,000. But in the bid, we had some alternates, some deductive alternates, which we are accepting the alternates, I guess, and taking the deduction out in this case. And that's going to get it down a pretty good bit, such as the fire alarm system. We aren't, based on the use of the building, the size of the building, we're not required to have the sprinkler system in it, which, we wanted it in there. The Park Service wanted it in there, but they've agreed to back off of that because they know how expensive things are right now, and they want the project to go forward as much as we do. So we took all the alternates, all 3 deductive alternates out. I think, do y'all have the letter from Taylor Kemke's with all the breakdown? Okay, just so I didn't know, I needed to read them all. But and then we had the value engineering, other items we made changes or took out. It got us down to our $868,000 number. Also, what you don't see in that number, and it's on the last paragraph of that letter, is the tax credits. And once we take the tax credits out, estimate another credit to the city of about $191,000. So hopefully we're going to get that net price down to $671,000 in that neighborhood. The rest will be for Randy on the finance, the cost part of it.
And Mayor, I had looked at a recap of both the Eagle building, which we've completed. We paid all the architectural fees. I might note that DSW was a successful contractor on Eagle, and it's completed. On the depot, the Cane River National Heritage Area, represented by Rebecca, is putting in $47,000 of the architectural fees on the depot side of it. And then we went through the tax credit application, which is about $20,000 of the total fees to the architects, but we did get successfully get that approved on the state level. And as Ed said, we anticipate getting $191,000 for the tax certificate after the whole thing is finished. When you look at the total of all that, plus and minuses, we're going to be about $1.5 million total to put the whole package together. We have a 20-year lease at $130,000 annually. Run numbers, but I would anticipate, depending on the final interest rate we would get, because we don't want to absorb that out of the general fund, but we'll be somewhere probably between 2.5% and 3.5%. We don't know at this point. That's the next step to go and structure the financial side of it. But I would anticipate between $95,000 and about $105,000 of the total lease amount will reduce the entire debt over the 20-year term. And there would be some funds for operation and maintenance of the facilities. So that's a quick summary of where we are. And also, as Ed said, and you'd mentioned, I've been involved in the depot for more than 30 years. I can remember in the 70s going to a social event up there that was put on in anticipation of raising funds to do what finally is going to happen. And it's going to be a wonderful facility. It's going to allow what I think is the landmark district to grow toward the depot. There's always been resistance, and I think once you have those buildings occupied, you're going to see a lot of things change on 3rd, 4th, 5th Street as you move back towards 6th Street.
Council, comments or questions based
I
on
agree.
what Ed and Randy said?
Great gift to the building, and I, just like everybody else, have watched that building since the 70s when I worked on 6th Street, and just, you know, you often wonder if that building could talk, what would it say? And gosh, we're getting the opportunity to put it back to where the public can actually access it. It's been boarded up for years and years, and it's going to be a wonderful project.
Any public comments? We do have Rebecca Blankenbeck here from Cane River National Heritage Area. Rebecca, I guess I would ask, any design, any image we could see about what it's going to look like, if we have anything like that yet?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rebecca Blankenbaker. I'm the Executive Director of Cane River National Heritage Area. Mayor, we do not have design drawings as of yet of the interior of the space. We do have design drawings of the exterior space that we can send to your office and you can send out to the council members. Additionally, the National Park Service, another portion of this, the National Park Service is investing approximately $750,000 on the interior of the building to flush out the exhibit space for the inside of the building. So while the city is contributing to the bricks and mortar preservation of the building, the National Park Service is also investing a considerable amount of money to talk about the interpretation and the significance of this very important site in the city. And that will be beginning in December of this year, the design process. So we are hoping that in early spring we will have design drawings of the interior of the space to share with you.
I think we took a tour of the building several months back.
You did.
Last year? Yeah, same building.
We have just concluded a summer project where it was a series of listening sessions with the community to get feedback and memories and have the community share their memories and pictures with us so that we can help develop the design and interpretation of the interior of the space. So we concluded that, and we're sending those reports to the National Park Service to be approved and stamped, and we look forward to sharing that with the council as well.
Is there any indication, Rebecca, of, at this point, maybe not, but of when work will actually start over there? Any completed, when we expect it to be completed, things like that?
I'm going to toss that to Randy.
Well, if we award on the 22nd, the next meeting, as quickly as they can get their bonds and we can sign contracts, I would think we would start by the 1st of January, maybe the first week, 10 days of January. I think they projected about a 5-month period for construction. So I would think we're dealing with somewhere in the range of May, June, probably at the earliest when they would occupy. What Rebecca just said made me think of something else as I think about the partnership between the city and the Park Service. The Park Service invested over $500,000 of their funds in just the Eagle building in movables. They're high-end coolers, freezers, display things for all the artifacts, And in the deal, if they don't remain there for the 20 years, they forfeit all of that to the city. So there's really more to it than meets the eye if you just sort of look at bidding it and doing the building. It's kind of partnership that you can only hope for, and it's just sort of fell in our lap in a way. And like I say, I think it's going to be a great stimulus for all of that area from downtown to the depot.
Okay. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Appreciate your presence tonight. All right. And again, this is just for introduction on tonight. Moving on to another piece, two more pieces for introduction. Ordinance number 57, Councilwoman at Large Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 057 of 2021 is an ordinance amending Chapter 20 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Natchez relative to establishing the Natchez Fairness, Equality, and Inclusion Program, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. Whereas the City of Natchez desires to ensure equity, inclusion, and its public investments through the creation of the Natchez Fairness, Equality, and Inclusion Program, and whereas the initial purpose of the program will be to identify those entities desiring to transact business with the city that meet the requirements of a socially and economically disadvantaged business as set forth. And whereas once socially and economically disadvantaged businesses have been identified by the program, the city desires to implement the main purpose of the program by using the collected information in a manner that will increase the utilization of socially and economically disadvantaged businesses and the procurement of goods and services by the city without prejudicing any entity transacting or desiring to transact business with the city that would not meet the eligibility requirements set forth herein. And now therefore be it ordained that the Code of Ordinances, City of Natchez, Louisiana, is hereby amended by adding a section to be numbered Section 20 through 82. It shall be the policy of the City of Natchez to provide opportunities to businesses owned and controlled by socially and economically disadvantaged persons to participate meaningfully in the contracting activities of the city that involve public spending or private projects that utilize public funding or incentives. The provisions of this ordinance should be interpreted liberally to implement the foregoing policy to the maximum extent permissible by law. The Natchez Fairness, Equality, and Inclusion Program is a race and gender-neutral program with a goal of ensuring every qualified entity is given fair consideration during any and all processes which allocate the City of Natchez resources, including but not limited to the procuring of goods and services, use of funds, and any and all contracts or private projects that utilize city resources, funding, or incentives. Each city department, agency, board, and commission, and each corporation established by the city shall independently attempt to ensure that its contracts in the aggregate are made available for bid, proposal, or any such other methods as may be devised from time to time for the expenditure of city funds, but not limited to those entities meeting the eligibility requirements set forth below. A business may be eligible for the Natchez Fairness, Equality, and Inclusion Program if it is determined that the firm's ability to compete in the business world has been restricted due to industry practices, limited access to capital, and are restricted credit opportunities that are beyond the firm's control. This determination may be made at the sole discretion of the mayor of the city of Natchez or by meeting the qualifications for ownership, business size, independence, and control as set forth below. Ownership, the firm must be at least 51% owned by a socially and economically disadvantaged person or persons, as defined in Title 13, Part 124 of the Electronic Code of Federal Regulations. Be it further ordained that the Code of Ordinances, City of Natchez, Louisiana, is hereby amended by adding a section to be numbered Section 20 through 86. Be it further ordained that if any provision or item of this ordinance or the application thereof is held invalid, such invalidity shall not affect other provisions, items, or applications of this ordinance, which shall be given effect without the invalid provisions, items, or applications, and to this end, the provisions of this ordinance are hereby declared to be severable. Be it further ordained that all ordinances or parts thereof in conflict herewith are hereby repealed, and this is for introduction only.
Thank you, Ms. Councilwoman at Large. You would notice, Council, as you read this, and even as Councilwoman at Large Smith read it, there is no set-aside in this legislation, but we want it to be clear, I want it to be clear that we have an aspirational goal to be intentional about including DBEs and WBEs in the work involving, in terms of work that the city needs to get executed. I want to turn it to Alex, because I know you spent time writing this, to just kind of share with us.
I think you said it well. This legislation is designed to increase the capacity of minority businesses, the participation and growth within the city of Natchez. Throughout, this state and this nation, there's a lot of programs that exist, DBE programs, and as the mayor took over this administration, I just noticed that we didn't have, a particular policy here, so we kind of bounced some ideas amongst ourselves and just created a policy where it's not, 25% goal, but just a policy that we want to increase locally and grow businesses within our community. As Randy said, he said the depot deal been going on since the 70s, and Betty mentioned earlier that small businesses is the rock of the United States. Minority businesses in Natchez need to grow so we can all grow. So once we identify who those companies are, with the work of I think Ed Lee, we'll create a list, and once we have that list of those who qualify in this program, and to answer one of Eddie's questions we talked about earlier, if we have a contractor who bid for a job and that job is $1 million, obviously minority businesses in Natchez can't make that bid for $1 million, but they can do some drainage work or some road work or some other work. So that company may bid for that $1 million, but we have a specification in the bidding process that says, we hope that you utilize this program and bring those people on board. So as the majority firm earn his revenue from the city, we can have minority firms earning. So one day, maybe 20 years from now, but they can have the capacity to make bids for jobs like that also.
So it's like bringing them in like as a subcontractor on these different bids?
That's what we envision, making this part of the specifications that they make good faith efforts to bring in minority businesses to work.
So basically, Alex, attorney, were you saying like whenever we approve the airport or anything like that, would they be able to do something like that with those projects?
Yeah. With the airport, actually, a lot of that money that we receive is federal money.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a program that the council actually approved, I think it was last year, that they're kind of abide by and meet certain quotes. So if it's 25%, we have to meet that 25% or make good faith efforts to bring in a minority business. So that kind of exists with the city on the federal side, but just our local funders and contracts and services, this is what this program is about.
Okay.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we talked about this before, but it's my understanding, maybe I'm wrong, that even though a contractor may give the lowest bid, you don't always have to go with that contract if their work is substandard work, if you've had substandard work from them.
Right. I mean, if they, show a pattern.
If they show a pattern of substandard work, you don't have to always go with that contract because it's the lowest bidder, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments, council? What about public comments? All right, again, this is on for introduction, so we'll ask council for a vote on our next meeting coming up on the 22nd. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, it's introduction as well, last introduction piece, that's Councilman Harrington.
Ordinance number 58 of 2021, an ordinance furnishing the marshal of the city of Natchez, state of Louisiana, with suitable office facilities and otherwise providing with respect thereto, and it is the desire of the city and its governing authority to allow the marshal to occupy the facilities at 450 Fifth Street, Natchez, Louisiana, to be used as its office facilities. And that's just for introduction.
Right, I think this is written pretty clearly. It gives you the Louisiana Revised Statute, what city has to do, and then we have this piece of property. Of course, our charter says we have to convey, if we're going to convey any property or lease, it has to go before council. So this is the house on, as it says very clearly here, 450 Fifth Street. So right down the road from our Natchitoches finest NPD headquarters. So I think everybody pretty much knows community development occupied this building for some time a couple years ago. So, but just kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about. Yep. So are there any questions or comments, council? Any public comments? Okay, seeing none. Again, this is introduction. We'll vote on it on the next meeting. Moving on to some things we vote on today. Resolutions. This is resolution number 93. And I would actually say about this, I talked to the council and provided, before we even read it, provided a resolution, which is a CEA, which I didn't realize we had until this morning. But we have a CEA already with the parish government, developed and signed in 2014, that basically covers what's on the agenda is attempting to do. So it would, in essence, be a moot point to to vote on this on the agenda, since we already have a CEA that does not expire. And it spells out, particularly what we use from the parish government, we're grateful for it, is the motor grader. And that CEA of 2014, which is resolution number 17, spells out specifically the relationship in terms of services provided, equipment used that the parish would use on our roads, and vice versa, what we would give in return to the parish. So learning of that this morning, it became evident to me that resolution number on our agenda tonight, resolution number 93, is really not needed. So I would recommend the council remove this from the agenda.
Yeah, no, I'll move, due to the redundancy, and I agree, it's the exact same thing. I'll move to remove resolution number 93 from our agenda.
I second.
Okay. Any comments or questions? Any public comments? Okay, motion has been made and seconded. We're going to do, we have to do a vote on that, right? Okay, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. All right, moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is resolution number 94, Councilwoman Washington Eli.
Thank you, Mayor. 094, resolution, Fair Majo LAC contract amended number 1 for the City of Louisiana Community Development Block Grant, COVID, LAC DBG CVH, BSC improves. And I really didn't understand all the numbers that is in here, so I guess it's Ed Lee Department, a reason why it's asking for the budget to be increased.
Yeah, I'll briefly talk about it, then we have Thomas McGee here as well that can answer some of the questions. But we're initially looking at a project on this grant that was $500,000. And after evaluating the two buildings, the Martin Luther King Jr. Recreation Center and the Natchez Event Center, there's really about $1 million worth of work to be done to upgrade the HVAC systems in both buildings, so it's twice as much as we had originally started out. And we were able to ask for more money, and we were given more money. So instead of the project costing $500,000, it's going to be $1 million project. And as such, his fees were based on the $500,000, the original amount. And there's going to be more work involved. The project's going to last longer, and it's just turned out to be a bigger project. And as such, he has asked for an increase in fees, and I think it's warranted. Additional $500,000, now the additional paperwork, the additional length of the project, and he's not asking for double the money. He's asking for $10,500 additional. So I think it's fair to give him or award him that extra money, considering the scope of the project has doubled.
And we do have, Thomas, if you would come, you've been here before, but you've come, state your first and last name, and I would say, we won the grant, and Thomas was the one who composed it, put it together, so we appreciate the work. We were successful, not everybody was successful at it, so again, thank you, sir, for your work. Just kind of whatever you want to explain about the process so far. I think Ed pretty much, got to the point, but I don't know if there's anything else you want to say.
My name is Thomas McGee. Ed pretty much summarized it. When Ed first contacted me and asked for me to come and assist the city with preparing the application, we thought it was a $500,000 project, and it doubled. And with that, there's a lot more financial management. The contractor's going to be on site, and we have to monitor his activities. So our workload increased, and that's why I requested additional money.
Okay. Questions or comments, council, for Mr. McGee? Okay. Any public comments or questions? All right, Mr. McGee, why are you up here? To the extent these next items on the agenda, I don't know if you looked at them, but they're pretty much routine. Can you speak to that just a little bit?
Yes, sir. Resolution number 95, the management resolution, that spells out certain activities that are going to be going on with the CDBG program. It names coordinators for some activities that the state requires. And it's pretty much just a summary of who's doing what throughout the whole program. Resolution number 96 is the grievance procedure. And that is, if a citizen wants to file a complaint, that is the procedure that the city will follow as it relates to accessibility for the program. Number 97, policy statement for communicating with sensory impairments. Again, that is the policy for how the city will handle handicapped individuals as it relates to this program. You can adopt that for your local ordinances, but this resolution just speaks to the CDBG program. And then number 98 is a language access plan. That is a federal requirement. We did a review of the English proficiency of the city, and you have to do that as a part of the federal money that you're getting for these improvements. And if you're above a certain percentage, then you have to translate every document into that language. If there's a lot of Spanish-speaking people in the city, then you have to translate everything into Spanish. You're well below those percentages, so you don't have to do that. And this is just adopting a plan stating that fact. And then Resolution 99, award of the Phase 1 Environmental Site Assessment. As a part of the HVAC program, there's a federal rule that you can't spend federal money on a contaminated facility. And this consultant that you would be considering to award that contract to, he'll actually go and do an assessment looking for mold, radon, lead-based paint, all that stuff, produce a report so that that's what you stand behind, saying that these facilities aren't contaminated. I highly doubt they are, otherwise the public wouldn't be going to them, but it's just an exercise that you have to go through.
Well, thank you, Mr. Thomas, again for your work in the city, successfully getting this $1 million grant to improve our HVAC at MLK Rec and also at the Event Center. We are appreciative of that, and also thank you for explaining each of these. Stacy told me they were pretty much routine, but just wanted you to give some explanation. Any other thing for Thomas, Mr. McGee?
No, but I haven't adopted yet. I'd like to adopt resolution number 094.
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All right. We said we didn't have any questions. Roll call vote, Ms. Stacy.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Moving on to resolution number 95, Councilman Harrington.
Resolution number 95 of 2021, LCDBG Management Resolution, fiscal year 2021, LCDBG CV. As this was just previously discussed, this is a very long document. It's concerning the management of the grant, and this is just this has to be done in order to receive the grant funds. And I don't know if anything else needs to be said to explain it, but I move to adopt resolution number 95 of 2021.
I second.
And Mayor Williams, if you look at section 1, for the authorization signature card for request for payment, I have down there Sonia L. McLennan, which is going to be my new controller. We're going to be taking her name off of there.
Okay.
I think we're going to go ahead and put Jill's name in there. So just for the record, Martha J. Raines will be taking the place of Sonia L. McLennan.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Stacy, for
Thank you.
clearing that up for us. Did we have a second on that?
Yeah, I second.
Chris.
Oh, we had a motion and a second. All right, Mr. McGee explained that to us. Councilors, you got any other questions about that one? Again, this is resolution number 95. Public comments, questions? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, the resolution passes. Moving on to resolution number 96, Councilman PT.
Thank you, Mayor Williams. This is also a part of that community block grant, resolution number 96 of 2021. Basically getting down to it, it says that no otherwise qualified handicapped individual shall solely by reason of his handicap be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. And I move to adopt this resolution, 96.
Second.
Okay, comments or questions, council? All right, I don't know if you remember the explanation by Mr. McGee, but, all right. Any public comments? All right, seeing none, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Resolution number 97, Councilwoman Washington Eli.
Thank you, Mayor. 097 FY 2001 LCBG CV policy statement for the community. Information for the person of sensory impairments, and this basically is referring to the block grant also. And I move to adopt resolution number 097 of 2021.
I second.
All right, any comments or questions, council? Any public comments? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Resolution number 98, Councilman Nielsen.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 98 of 2021, fiscal year 2021, LCDBG CV, language access plan. I think that was explained pretty well, so move that we adopt resolution number 98 of 2021.
I second.
Questions or comments, council? And I think this is the one, McGee, you said we were under that threshold of Hispanic-speaking persons, okay? Public comments? Okay, seeing nothing from council or the public. Ms. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 99, Councilwoman at Large Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Continuation. This is a resolution to award the Phase 1 Environmental Site Assessment Contract for LCD BG HVAC program. Whereas the city received 3 quotes from qualified vendors for the service, and based on the cost proposals received, intends to award the Phase 1 Environmental Site Assessment Contract to Wetlands Unlimited. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Natchez City Council, the city hereby enters into an agreement with Wetlands Unlimited to conduct the Phase 1 environmental site assessments of the facilities for a total lump sum fee of $4,950, and the mayor is authorized to execute the agreement with Wetlands Unlimited, as well as all related documents. And I move for adoption resolution 099.
Second.
Okay, comments or questions, council? Any public comments? Okay, Mr. Stacy, we're ready, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Last item on the agenda is resolution number 100, Councilman Harrington.
Resolution 100 of 2021, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development for improvements at the Natchez Regional Airport for obstruction of removal runway 7 approach phase 2. And the resolution states that the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development will provide the necessary funding for the obstruction removal runway 7 approach phase 2 and reimburse the sponsor up to $41,860 of project cost. And I'll let Ed discuss this. I move to adopt resolution 100 of 2021.
Second.
Okay, yeah, this, as mentioned, this is phase 2 of this project. The first phase was the study to identify any obstructions on the west side of the airport. All of these trees happen to be on Northwestern's golf course, and we've already been talking to them. They're agreeable. They understand, the impact of trees and the height of trees near airports, and especially right off the end of one of your runways. So they've been agreeable to remove the trees. The dollar amount, the $41,860, we know that number to be accurate because the state asked us to do the RFP prior to them giving the city this grant. So we received 2 proposals on the RFP. Skyplex was $31,500, Regional Construction $54,000. So Skyplex will be awarded the work to remove these trees, and as part of this, they will be replanting an equal number of crepe myrtles. So the golf course will get trees back, but they'll get trees that don't grow as tall as the big oak trees and pine trees that are in the way. The additional amount from the 31,500 to get to the 41,860 is additional work from the engineer, the consultant on the project, as well as an inspector that has to be on the job when they do the work. So this is a 100% grant from the LADOTD.
100% grant, you said?
100, yes, ma'am.
So we're gonna, for runway 7, isn't it blacktop already?
Yeah, this is to remove the trees.
The trees, okay,
Yeah, the runway's already paved.
okay.
But that is a project that y'all just previously awarded the $3 million.
So two
grant.
different,
That's the
two
same
different
runway.
projects.
Yes, two different projects, but we're talking about, it affects the same runway.
Okay. So isn't the trees not close to the runway, is it?
Yeah, they're right on the other, they're right off the end of runway 7. They're off of, you have the runway, runway 725, which is the east-west runway. Then you have the bypass, and immediately on the other side of the bypass, y'all see the big long white fence for the golf course. On the other side of the fence, you'll see a grouping of about 30 trees, and those trees will be removed.
I like the replant.
Yeah, in Northwestern has worked.
That's just the right thing to do.
Yeah, and this isn't the first time it happens. Northwestern has worked really well with us over the years, but whenever we've actually removed trees off of their campus before. And again, we plant trees that won't grow so tall as part of the agreement. And again, even the replanting is covered by the grant.
Okay, any other questions or comments, council? Any public comments or questions? Okay, thanks, Ed, for the explanation. Mr. Stacy, we're ready for a roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Petey.
Yes.
All righty, we have prayer with the mayor every Thursday, 7:30 to 7:45. If you can't join us, just say a prayer for our city, however it is that you pray, whomever it is that you pray to. All right, next one, Steve. Excited about this, Clash on the Cane, and this is going to take place, they say the first bell is at 3 p.m., all right, and this is this Saturday. And they even got a registration going on, so it's on the app. Jingle and Mingle, November 16th, from 6 to 8:30. Shop local at the hours with special discounts, cocktails. All right, and that Service League of Natchez is going to be, vendors are going to be at the Prud'homme Rouquier House. Our next meeting is going to be the 22nd. I bet you all can't even think what else is significant about the 22nd. What's that?
We'll be off on the 11th for Veterans.
Yeah, we'll be off, the city, right?
Yes.
Yeah, city will be closed on the 11th for Veterans Day. November 22nd, what happened?
Party for the city.
No. We lost a great American president in Dallas on that day. I know we don't like to think about that now. But yeah, President Kennedy at that time. And Sip and Stroll has been canceled. This is going to be the last one of this season. Talked to President Richmond about it. Cold weather. It's going to be real cold at that time on Saturday, so decided to not have it. And we see Thanksgiving is Thursday. And then the city is going to be, of course, Thanksgiving Day, but also closed on the day after for Black Friday, okay? I should also, is that the last slide? I think it is, okay. Before we adjourn, I should also say that the Northwestern State University has selected its 20th president, Dr. Marcus Jones, all right? So, congratulations to him. I believe great things are in the future in store for our university. Randy's got something.
Mayor, let me just comment that Farmers Market has moved to the south end of Brick Street on Saturday because of the boxing event on the stage. So if someone wants to go to Farmers Market, it'll be on Front Street.
Okie dokie, all right. Well, that's the end of our announcements. This time, council, if you would offer a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. All right, meeting is adjourned.